And we are back at WCS Spring. It is going to be the Zerg vs. Zerg for the ages up next. The world champion is finally coming out onto the main stage. It is Serral, challenged, of course, by Lambo, one of the best contenders here for going up against him. I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to be pretty close. You think Serral's just going to smash this one through, or...?
This is really tough because of the people that can potentially take a map off Serral or even take a series, Lambo's definitely one of those guys, you know? Like,
oh, yeah.
There's not many. The list is few, but Lambo's definitely one of them. But if Serral really shows up and does the Serral thing, it is very much one of those things where it could easily be a 3-0 or it could be a 3-2. I'm genuinely excited to see what both these players pull out.
Yeah, it should be a great match, of course. We saw the map vetoes earlier, and we saw a very clear series of decisions, and that large maps were picked by the Finnish player. But this one over here was opting for those smaller maps in the red, in the top left-hand side, representing Clash. He is the German Zerg, Lambo.
And honestly, he's been playing super solid this tournament so far. He did take out Uthermal in the series before this, so he's already playing very, very sharp. And spawning over in the northeast side, he is the world champion. It is Serral. And you hear it. The people love Serral, and rightly so. He's absolutely one of the greatest players of all time. Not just like one of the greatest foreigners, it's absolutely one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah, the streak that he has kind of put together in terms of performance is just insane. Winning every single WCS circuit event, GSL versus the World, and the BlizzCon WCS Global Finals last year. I mean, that's just a year of insanity. And he's still been looking good this year. Obviously did not manage to quite win WCS Winter. Close second place there. But even then, man, Raynor had to work for it.
It's also the fashion that he's been doing it in, though, Pig. You know, we've had people be on top for different things, like, oh, this guy brought out a new style, be it like Reapers by Beyond, and just was very, very good at micro. We've had Stefano that discovered the Roach max timings and stuff. People have been on top for very different reasons, but the way that Serral's been on top, he is just better than everybody else at absolutely everything, which is so, so phenomenal and hard to do. And the fact that he's maintained it as well for as long as he has, it's just amazing what this kid's done.
Yeah, I remember people for so long talking about defensive, reactive, macro play, being the perfect way to play StarCraft. Adapt to your opponent, flex around them. But it always felt like it was just too hard to really string together super consistent results when you're just going to be the reactive player rather than the one who forces their opponent to react to them. Serral destroyed all of our ideas around that. He showed that you can be good enough as long as you scout everything, as long as you're constantly seeing what's going on, you can just respond to what your opponent's doing and absolutely dominate the entire circuit.
And that's one of the things I brought up before at the analyst desk, actually. Like, there is no player in existence that has probably played against people trying to cut corners against him as much as Serral, which is like that must have spawned him into scouting furiously for absolutely everything, and that it is trademark in his play, but also the fact that he can just do everything a little bit better than you. You have to cut corners against him. But given that he is the best scouter in the world too, it's very difficult. Now, starting off this series, Lambo's obviously gone for a pretty decently timed speed, whereas Serral completely skipped that. What does that make you think? Is it about the map itself? Year Zero very, very large?
Yeah, you know, this was Serral's map pick. He's picked the big maps. Lambo's picked the small ones. He's going to come and seize the Baneling Nest and the Link Speed on the way. It feels like Serral here going straight for a Roach Horn in a third base is really playing a very odd style. He wants to utilize the distance of that map, and that Zergling did see that Roach Horn on the way. Are we going to see Lambo commit to some pressure here? I feel like he kind of has to get something done. Serral cutting the Zergling speed, yet still rushing the third base. This is a big meta play out of Serral, and he's just going to build a handful of roaches and then go back to droning defensively. That's a pretty awesome opening for Serral.
This is a far stranger map, though, given that you can play multiple styles, right? And we did see Serral talk about how he doesn't like to steer away from the roach stuff. The Muta plays, the weird Ling Lurker plays, they could all be very, very powerful. Now, Lambo gets to see that roaches are out very, very early here. Lambo is also going for +1 missiles, so he's getting some decent info, and drone count-wise, he's also ahead of Serral. Now, these Lings do lose their value over time, given that The only thing they can do really is go for drone kills, maybe queen snipes here and there. The Roaches are obviously a lot stronger in head-to-head fights. So Lambo just doing what he can, just making sure that there's no shenanigans going off on Serral's side of the map.
A really odd opening, though, as you pointed out there, for Serral, just choosing to go for the third base and the Roaches, something you would never do normally, but I guess just the distance on this map giving him the confidence. I think Lambo, though, has rolled with the punches really well. Didn't get baited into overcommitting to a big Ling Bane attack. He's up in workers consistently. He's got the faster +1. Yeah, his lair's a little bit later, but I don't think you really care at this point. You've got the drone advantage. You're just going to keep pressing that. And Lambo looks like he's well matched going into the Roach War.
You know what? If these nameplates were reversed, I would say it was actually these players. Like, the absolute opposite. Serral's the one that's done something a little bit weird. His drone count's a little bit less. It is also Lambo going for the Overlord speed here for the scouting purposes, constantly scouting with his Lings too. So Lambo's definitely not getting caught with his plants down by anything yet, and he's still droning like a madman, actually. Like, this is significant.
Okay, that's actually the point where, you know, it's kind of like cutting a corner. It's like, well, he's going straight past the corner and holding down that drone key way further than you normally would, straight into a fourth hatchery and right up to 70 workers.
Oh, Nidus network on the way, Pig. So Serral, this is what he does, man. He sniffs things out. He can sense things like a true SAR sense in people's play. And here, this is one thing that could definitely catch Lambo off guard. But Lambo, the speed overlord, he will see the Nidus. This is big. This is big.
That is such crucial scouting there. Is he going to have enough to hang on? He's down about 20 army supply already is Lambo. His Roach speed will not be ready in time, but he can start to set up some units, leaving a few Roach Zerglings and a Roach in the main, ready to snap down the Nidus Worm. The frontal assault moving across the map. This is a gigantic map. It takes a long time to get across. Serral with a very conservative first Nidus Worm, going to allow him to reinforce Roaches immediately into the battle. That's going to negate some of the defender's advantage. He's going to start looking for an angle. Lambo's Roach speed not quite ready. Serral's going to dive on top, trying to take advantage of this upgrade advantage. He's got the Roach numbers. The Spine Crawler finishing up, drones being pulled off the line. Lambo with that big worker advantage, able to lose some workers as long as he can buffer.
And I love how Serral's fighting each side at a time, really making it difficult for Lambo. And Lambo, the supply tells the story. Serral just pummeling his opponent. 20 drones down, more drones are falling, and a quick GG in the first game. Serral, he showed up, man.
It's been cool to see Serral develop more and more of these aggressive strategies. He used to only throw them in once in a best of 5. Best of 3, almost never. But lately, this year, I feel like more and more, he's picking really good aggressive timing attacks. He's, as you said, sniffing out when his opponent's just being a bit too greedy. Straight to 70 workers, the 4th base going down immediately. That was just a little bit too much greed there for Lambo. And even though he sees what's coming, when you've gone Overlord speed like that, you've gone 70 drones, you've gone the 4th hatch. And Serral was, what, 55 drones, I think, there? So it was just, like, very sharp Roach attack.
Like, the big question is, how does he do it? How does he know all these things? And there are so many different little tells that you can find out about players, but he's got some formula down in his head. He's like, okay, if I see this mineral patch, if I see this being done, this Overlord speed, this is investment here, there, and everywhere. Just all of it. Calculated up in Serral's head, and he's very meticulous about, well, if he does this and I respond in this way, I should just be ahead regardless. And he knows that whatever he chooses to do, he's going to do it as perfectly as you possibly can. And that game, he didn't even break a sweat, man. It looked like if that game went on for another minute or so, by the way, don't make any mistake. Like, Lambo would have definitely been ahead if he got away with that. But it's a fact that Serral didn't allow any of that to happen. Definitely a bit of a shocking start to the series, given that, you know, Lambo got himself in a pretty decent spot, but now he knows, man, I can't just, like, cut corners and outgreed this guy. I can't just do that to him. He's going to spot it.
You know, it's almost at this point where there's a metagame around facing Serral where the players are feeling like they've got to do so much, and that's almost the undoing, right? Serral's pulling on that thread where he's saying, you know what, you're just pushing too far. Lambo was a little bit ahead in the workers. He had a smooth opening. He actually had a good position, but everybody is so afraid to fight him in a toe-to-toe fight. No one wants to be on even footing with Serral, especially not there on year 0, a map where Serral consistently makes it up to that late game. We are going to be launching into map number 2, and this time it is the German Zergs map pick, guys. Up here in the top left-hand side, a player who has built up his strats, his skills, it's Lambo.
And that first game was definitely a little unfortunate for him, but now, over in the bottom right side, as our blue Zerg, playing for Team Ents, the world champion, it is Serral.
Yeah, Lambo, of course, has picked Cyber Forest Map 2. Map 3 is going to be King's Cove for Serral, another gigantic map. And then I believe map 4 is going to be Kairos Junction. So it's kind of cool to see these smaller maps coming out. I think Lambo absolutely wanting to open up Gasless, and he has a lot of build orders to pick from. You know, sometimes we see the Gasless wall off into a fast Roach timing. Sometimes we see people faking it and going straight Mutalisks on 2-base. There's a lot of different styles, and I feel like Lambo can play all of them. He really can. It's just about how he thinks the best way is to dismantle Serral.
That's the thing, right? Like, you talked about it, like little metagames between the players, and there's a metagame in itself about beating Serral. It's like, I have to cut a corner, but how much do I do it? Do I do it severely? No, he's going to sniff me out. Do I do it the tiniest bit? Is it even worth doing that in the first place? There's a lot of things that go into it. Now, Cyberforest, yes, it is different. And Lambo is definitely one of the players that has pulled out these cheeky, weird builds, like getting tier 2 pretty fast with like 30 drones, and then using overlords across the map as a creep highway to decimate his opponent. And I've seen him actually cheese Serral out in these kind of ways. And yeah, he's definitely going to have to mix things up a little bit against Serral, keeping him on his toes and stuff. But, you know, there are very few people that can beat Serral, and Lambo is one of them. We have pointed out time and time again. Oh, wow, okay. Pig, that is a very quick lair.
Wow. Yeah, there's quick lairs, and then there's that. That's literally skipping a queen in the main in order to get that going. Wow. This could be an incredibly fast Nidus Worm. Could be incredibly fast Mutalisks. I actually think it's going to be Mutalisks here. I could be wrong. We'll have to keep our eyes open. Both good options and very surprising options. Serral on this map, I wouldn't be surprised to just be doing the Gasless wall off. His own lair, Evolution Chamber do start up. And yeah, that's going to be fascinating. Evo Chamber for Lambo, though.
I mean, it's a pretty decently early lair for Serral as well. Like, this looks very much like they're both kind of heading for that. In fact, at least Serral is. He's going for that quick +1, maybe quick speed. Maybe he's going to do the creep highway build, because this is a map where the rush distance from base to base is very, very small. Ooh.
Yeah. So that's a fake Evo Chamber at the front. Lambo actually wants Serral to see the Evo Chamber. Really cool little adjustment. He wants Serral to think they're both doing the same sort of thing. Meanwhile, going straight to 4 gas, fake Roach Roaring as well. Really very cutesy build here by Lambo. He cannot let those Zerglings in. If he lets those Zerglings in, even into the natural, that's really bad for Lambo. Lambo, he's going to start to focus him down, but he should have been blocking that. All 4 gases get spotted. That alone is enough of a tell. Sees a very low drone count. Serral is the kind of guy who will sniff something crazy. I think immediately has an idea that this is a little bit of an odd strategy coming out of Lambo. Does he know it's Mutalisks? Not necessarily, but we can see his reaction is to hold down the drone key, really pumping that out for now. These 2 queens going to poke out. Is it going to be the 3rd base? Are we going to see more workers for Serral, or is he going to try and push across this map with roaches?
Definitely weird openings in this game. Both of them doing something less than normal. I mean, this Cyber Forest is a map where there's a ramp up to the natural, very easy to wall and then block. So Zergling plays aren't super common on this map. Like, Roach plays are far more common. But the fact that he's gone for such a quick spire here, and Serral has definitely said himself that he's uncomfortable in non-Roach situations. So I love the fact that Lambo is throwing a bit of a curveball at Serral once again.
I like that 3rd base. That's actually not too slow a 3rd base there. Overseer is going to come in and now spot this. The Mutalist's only a few seconds from popping out, though. The Nidus Worm drops down immediately there for Serral on just 41 drones, wanting to go for a big Queen, Roach, and Nidus. That's one way you can try to finish this. The Overseer, you see it's trying to go hide off on the edge of the map, but Lambo, hot on its tail, is going to be shutting that one down. Drops a Changeling, but is
nice
sniped
micro.
as well.
That was nice micro by Lambo. Just a little bit of split fire here. Now, Serral wants to keep any Overlord alive on this side of the map, because this could turn into an Overseer, which would allow him to get the Nidus flowing. And he does have 2 decently placed Overlords. Now, those Mutas did fly past one of them, which is a little worrisome. Did he see the Nidus just then with the Mutas? If so, that was a big, big deal there.
Oh, he's turning them around to start cleaning up these Overlords. The Nidus is going down below the 3rd base, but that's quite far away. The other Mutalist does split off to the left to start scouting it. Spine Crawlers going up in the natural for Lambo. And there we go, Queens pop out. at this point. Do you commit to the muta count? Lambo looks like he's keen on it. +1 flyer attacks, more and more mutas on the way. Rather than swapping into roaches, Lambo wants to be able to overwhelm this queen count.
This isn't the scariest queen count, though, is it? And I mean, the most healthy queen within regards to energy is the one at the front, too. So if you can potentially snipe that guy off, which, what is this muta count at right now? I mean, he doesn't even have to worry too much. Stopping this Nidus network, like this slow leapfrogging, is really big by Lambo, and every second that he can buy is a good second for him.
This is actually big. Those spine crawlers are about to finish to Muslim, and as they get up, this is an... You can't attack up there. That's just too many spine crawlers. It's already 4 up, about to be 6 spine crawlers on top of the ramp. Hemmed in on 2 bases, Lambo, but Lambo's building up that Mutalisk count. Right now, Serral is up about 10 workers and is actually starting to drone up behind this.
Like, he feels he's got the damage done, actually, does Serral. I mean, he's the one on 3 bases right now, so not only is he ahead in economy, his army can potentially get stronger. Oh, now he's trying to snipe the queens, the healthy queen.
Another queen does pop out here, but the queen goes down. Those transfusers, remember, they are nowhere near as powerful as they used to be. It obviously heals over time these days. The roaches, the queens, the drones all having to evacuate. Lambo with a fantastic pounce upon that, not giving Serral time to build any spore crawlers.
Wait, but what does Serral have back at home right now? This is getting really dicey. This is a huge amount of mutas, and it doesn't look like there is... Well, I mean, there's a spore in between here, but that can be caught. That will make transferring drones very difficult between the bases.
Oh!
Too many spines as well. There's too much.
Even an Evo chamber there in the wall. Serral is going to pop a Nidus in the main base. But oh my lord, it's not going to be able to go down. The Nidus worm falls. His whole army is stuck on the other side of the map. What are they going to do? Hop back into the Nidus worm? There's nowhere to go. Serral's army just stuck out of the map. They are going to try and unload in the main base. Don't know if that's going to work out, though.
But he's pouncing on the third here, and he does take out the Spore as well, so that's 10 drones that go down. And right now, when you're this equal in supply, but you have this kind of muta count, these queens are all going to fall. Serral's in trouble, real big trouble.
These queens just all going down there. And Lambo tying it up with the cheeky Mutalisk rush. That is the sort of style that we have seen as Serral's weakness. The cheeky mutas, the cheeky upgraded Zerglings. It's why Raynor has been the kryptonite of this young Finnish player. He's a player who always uses the Mutalisks, the upgraded Zerglings, the cheeky build orders. And Serral here once again falling victim to some surprise Mutalisks.
That was very nice by Lambo. I mean, it looked very worrisome against the Nidus, but he had his plan sorted, right? He was like, okay, I'm going to keep on holding down the Muta key. I'm going to make sure that I get enough spine so I don't really have to worry too much. Yes, I'm behind in drones, but all I need is for my opponent to make one error. If you lose those queens, and we talked about the high-energy queen, he immediately went for that one, meaning that there's going to be way less transfusers, and he kept on going for it. Transfuse received a recent nerf in one of the most recent patches.
Yeah.
And Lambo took massive advantage of that in the way that he engaged that army. So very impressive by Lambo, and he ties up the series very cheekily as well, we might add.
Yeah, that lair, I mean, that was just obscenely quick. Those Mutalisks hitting the field so early. Now we are going back onto the bigger map pick, Serral's pick. It's going to be Port Alexander for map number 3. The series is tied up 1 apiece. And, you know, there's big question marks for both players. Is Serral going to continue his run of utter dominance in the scene? Is he going to just kind of cleanse this bracket and work his way through to another championship? Or is it time for Lambo to ascend to the next level? We're going to be finding out. The winner of this series is going to be one of our favorites to take out the entire tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Serral, any tournament he enters, honestly, he's one of the favorites. And Lambo, he is one of the people that can cheekily beat him out. He knows Serral almost better than anyone at this point in time. The amount that these guys play together and practice together on the European server, they're both phenomenal.
All right. Well, we are going to be diving in down here in the bottom right, in the red, representing Clash, the German Zerg. A beautiful game in that last one. Can he do it again? It's Lambo.
And spawning over in the top left side, tried to get away with some cheeky Nidus play against that Spy, but it didn't work out. It is Serral.
You know, 2 games, both Nidus attempts so far.
Yeah.
He's, you know.
We talk about him being such a great sniffer of like what exactly to do, but this game, it absolutely didn't work out at all. But it felt like this was so unorthodox by Lambo in the way that he did everything.
Yeah.
That maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe that's what Lambo has to keep on doing. But how many tricks can you have up your sleeve that are good enough to beat this guy? I mean, It's pretty wild, honestly.
Yeah, you've got to have a certain element, I think, of bit of cowboy in you, you know, the way you pick your builds. I think that's why Raynor does so well against Serral. Back to their finals at Montreal, where he almost took Serral out. The winter finals, which for anyone out there who might remember the game either as a glorious moment for Raynor, the final game with the just giant speedling all-in that he hid, or if you're a Serral fan, one of the most tragic moments ever, where his queen got pushed out of the wall in because it wasn't on hold position and the Lings managed to get in. I mean, that was just one of those things where it was such a gamble from Raynor to close out that series. Lambo, he doesn't strike me as being quite as much of a wild player as Raynor.
I mean, the thing about that final game was that was kind of the dumbest move from Raynor to ever go for, but because of that, it kind of worked, which is a great time to pull it out. I mean, if you can't do it in a best-of-7 final on the last map against a player that's highly regarded as one of the best in the world, like, when can you? And I mean, he really threw Serral off with that. It was a last-ditch move with this, like, queen blocking out the wall. Like, couldn't get that wall up exactly. And yeah, it's very, very sad for him. But now going on to Port Alexander, we have a map that it's pretty large in distance. It's also pretty more regular in the way that this natural is all on flat ground, so Ling Bane is a lot more likely. Like, you can obviously deal damage into the natural as opposed to Cyber Forest, where you move up into the unknown.
Yeah.
And that way you don't really want to play that kind of game. And here, very, very standard by both of these guys so far.
Yeah, I like it as well. A bit more space on this map rewards the map control the Ling Bane offers to you. You're not going to kind of say, hey, I've got map control. Oh, doesn't matter, it's Cyber Forest. Roaches are across the map in about 10 seconds. So I like this map. We do get more of this kind of both players going to have to try and react to each other. Serral already digging for scouting information. Not going to find it. 4 Zerglings of Lambo getting a hefty amount of damage done to that hatchery. But the 4 Zerglings of Serral do come down to answer that. And apparently, yep. You know, I'll kill 4 of your Zerglings for 1 of mine. Why not? Why not? My name's Serral. That's just standard.
Right, in a falling fight, you come out with 3. Okay. But yeah, now Lambo's being a little bit aggressive, right? Like, this is a stage of the game that they're both making quite a few Lings. Now, Serral is slightly ahead on the drone count. He's making Banelings already.
Yeah, I mean, the damage on that hatch is pretty substantial, considering this is not a big investment from Lambo. It was 4 Lings early. He's followed up with a total of 11 Zerglings, a single Baneling. This is nothing that big, but he is forcing a good response from Serral. Lambo's managed to be a bit greedy behind it. He's up a couple of workers, and he's going for the Evolution Chamber follow-up.
So yeah, he's also going for a very quick lair here, like before the Roach Warren starts or anything. So he feels very, very safe here, just holding down the drone key. And we have to mention, like, these guys must play each other a lot. So there's going to be mind games that we can't even understand. Like, I know I played Serral on this map like 17 times and it went this way most of them and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to change things up. So Roach Warren does start for Lambo. So he's the guy that's definitely going for Roach. In fact, both of them going for Roaches at this point in time. Just in different ways.
Yeah, faster upgrades for Lambo with the +1 range, but you got the faster lair for Serral, which gives him, of course, more options in terms of his own Roach Warren. You know, I'd mention Spire as a surprise option, but it doesn't seem likely considering Serral very rarely goes for Spire.
This is something that Serral does so darn well against players. Just sneaks in 2 cheeky Lings, and there's still no lair on the way for Lambo, right?
Yeah, that is a very late lair. I think he's got to start that up now, and indeed it does go down. So he's going to do kind of like an old school Snoot-esque style, you know, where you just kind of like drone up and say, yeah, roach speed doesn't matter. As long as I get my +2 ranged on time, it should be fine.
The thing is, right, like Serral, after seeing all of that information, he has to be maybe a little bit worried about the possibility of a huge tier 1 rush. But it's so big of a map that it's never really one of those situations that I ever think you'll ever worry about that. And seeing that there is full saturation, more drones being made, like, he would love for the confirmation of seeing it on the natural as well, just the amount of drones that were going down. But right now, he's probably feeling pretty confident from what he's seen.
Lambo's doing a Serral as well, man. Both of them just keep sliding Zerglings into each other's bases and confirming everything. They're both ticking things off their list. Oh, you're droning your third? Good, I can keep droning my third base. Oh, you're going up to that many gases? Cool, I can take an extra gas too. And we see Lambo, very classic kind of, you know, Zerg player versus Serral. He is going to be going up to a higher worker count. This is an exact mirror image of Game 1, in fact. A Lambo going for the much higher worker count, going for Overlord speed. Meanwhile, Serral going for the Nidus Worm. This is the exact same game. The only difference is Lambo has stopped about 5 workers less than Game 1.
Also, Lambo again going for the 4th base and the Overlord speed at the same time. So he definitely wants to know what Serral's doing. The thing is, Serral's already sniffed out what Lambo's going for because he knows he did it in the first game as well.
Oh no, +2 range, a Dropper Lord, a second Evo chamber. Lambo has no idea. He's investing in the late game right now. And Serral, 57 drones. He's just distracting him with little bits of Zergling pressure, saying, hey, let's occupy you, distract you. 4 Roaches in a Dropper Lord. That's the last thing you need right now. There's an Overseer going towards the main base of Lambo. He's already got a Nidus Worm popping up there. He's going to queue another Nidus Worm into the main base. And it's just going to be...
supply blocked. He's actually supply blocked. 4,
no.
5 Overlords being made. 6 Overlords. 7. Oh my gosh, this is such a rough spot to be in. Oh my gosh. That is a wounder. That is a wounder. I mean, he wasn't in a good position against what was happening, but the fact that it literally didn't even come down to a fight because he realized how much one mistake means against such a player. Wow, what? Oh my gosh.
That hurts, man. That's tragic, that game. I mean, just misreading the scenario, but then the Overlord, the Overlord supply block there, I mean, that's just too much. And Serral there, I mean, to me, this pattern speaks of Serral knowing his opponent. You were talking about mind games within mind games and a massive depth of experience between these players. We're seeing it right there. The fact that he's done the exact same build as game 1, it feels like Serral has said, look, worst case scenario, you play safe against this, you defend my multi-pronged Nidus Roach aggression, and you've got a few workers more than me. That's fine, I can play it from there, but this is a skill check, and this is also an honesty check. Are you being a good Zerg player who's actually playing really safe? And he's not. Lambo was going for too many things at once. A 4th base, 68 drones, Overlord speed, and an extra upgrade advantage, and a second Evo chamber. That's just too many investments that aren't in Roaches right then and there.
The thing is, though, Serral actually abused Lambo for being a good player in scouting that main base because he actually made the 6th gas there and then cancelled it upon killing the Ling, which was really indicative for Lambo to be like, this is a 6-gas macro game where we're going to be both taking 4ths. The fact that he cancelled that and threw Lambo off entirely, I mean, we can't credit Serral for making Lambo somehow supply block himself. You know, that's just part of the game. These mistakes happen, but...
You will not want to build Overlords.
Right. There wasn't some, like, crazy mind game going on in that regard, but he did sell something to Lambo that he wasn't doing, which, again, it's not just about Serral being able to sniff things out. It's about him putting his opponents on the wrong trail.
Lambo in chat in the lobby. Serral says, yes, question mark. Lambo says, I saw the Nidus coming both games, but I was like, nah. He wouldn't. He's not going to commit to that.
Yeah. Sounds like, yeah, I would.
Serral says, indeed. Lambo says, yeah, you're afraid of my Mutalisks, aren't you? Serral says, yeah, I am. I'm going to keep Nidus swarming you, mate. So a bit of banter going on between the two players in chat. Lambo, of course, you know, it's good to see him taking it in stride, realizing that he's kind of fallen victim to the same worm twice. It's 2-1 in favor of the worm. Are we going to see another worm from Serral? I hope so. And I mean, both players kind of cheekily talking about what strategies they're going to do in the next game as well. So always interesting to see where this one ends up. We are going to be going into map number 4. The Night King leads 2-1. Let's see how we go.
I will always remember this map as the map that the Night King fell, though, against Raynor. This was the final map between him and Raynor in that... grueling final where he ended in a cheeky play. Some nice first-hand view of Lambo playing there. And to introduce our player in the top right, playing for Team Clash, it is Lambo. And if any of the fans in the chat are Lambro supporters, I'd want to see a few of his motes in the chat.
Lambro.
It is a good name, isn't it?
It is good. And of course, the world champion, the Finnish phenom, the Night King. Down here in the bottom left, it's Serral.
So far, you've got to give credit where credit's due. Serral's been playing a good series so far. The Mutalisk game was very unorthodox by Lambo, which again, being able to just take a map off Serral in the first place is incredible.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not afraid of going toe-to-toe with Lambo either in a kind of straight-up macro game, even though it hasn't been working. But it's been Serral that's been like, I'm not going to play your game, mate. Like, I'm not going to do the same, like, the thing that you kind of want to do here because you're playing greedy as hell, mate. But really, just taking advantage of these little things is Serral, and it's working out so well for him. Now, New Repugnancy, it's a fairly short map as well. Now, There's also that flat land at the natural, which means Ling Bane can be a thing at the natural.
Yeah.
Which third do we take? We usually go linear down the map, usually again. But there's so many huge fighting areas in the center of the map for those big roach concaves. Yeah. It's a nasty map for burrowed roaches as well. I'm genuinely looking forward to see what both these players pull off.
Yeah, there's some cute doggos running around the map as well that have found a home here on New Repugnancy. It is a nice place to be a doggo, at least before the roach versus roach battles happen. And indeed, Ling speed on the way for Lambo. Serral's about to hit 100 gas. Is he going to get the Ling speed as well? He is. Okay, I like seeing these openings. Both players going to be fighting for map control in the early game.
And one of the things that Zergs do, they leave 2 guys on the gas to get a Baneling nest at some point. It just works out much better economically. And Zerg, as a race, the more minerals you have, the more drones you can make. More so than any other race, given that they work by lava. So that's why every little drone doing it the correct job at the right time counts.
We are going to see a third hatchery going down for both players. So very similar openings to that last game. The third hatch down there. Serral's 2 Zerglings kind of hanging out in the middle of the map and just keeping an eye on what Lambo's sending his way. The Baneling Nest goes down for Serral. This time around, Lambo with the slightly later Baneling Nest, and that's like 2 seconds. Pretty much mirrored build orders so far.
Serral gets to see exactly what's going on, but so does Lambo. Like, both these guys are very evenly matched in the early game, it feels. I know Serral's won out in a few of these little skirmishes of the Ling versus Ling battles, but so far things are as mirrored as it gets.
A few more drones on the way for Lambo. Serral queuing up 10 Zerglings. Looks like he wants to be the one to put on some light pressure this time around. 14 Zerglings on the way. Oh, he's going to really be taking the fight to Lambo and bringing a strong skill check across the map. He's already morphing 2 Banelings on the other side of the map, hidden over there. He's going to start to chase Lambo. Lambo cannot afford to let these Zerglings get trapped. He's trying to keep Serral back on his side of the map. Only a single safety Baneling morphing back at home for Lambo. And it's not even at home, it's in the middle of the map. Lambo being exceptionally greedy right now. 32 drones to 24. His Baneling gets sniped, and that was his only Baneling. A Baneling nest is no use if you're not in position to use it. The Queen getting surrounded. The Banelings are in there. Lambo is in huge trouble. The Queen on the natural has already fallen.
All the Banelings have fallen by Serral, though, and Lambo's trying to get some Banelings up. But Serral, he's all over Lambo at this point. The drones are scrambling. More Banelings will be joining the fight very soon for Serral. This is very dicey. None of these drones mining right now either. This is such a bad situation for Lambo to be in. What's he going to do against this? Banelings running for the drones here.
Oh, these drones looking mighty exposed right now. But Serral actually uses his Banelings on the enemy cocoons. 1 Baneling for Lambo, standing strong. It has to hold on right now. Those drones looking so exposed. Lambo somehow keeping his units alive, but can he manage to hold on?
This is truly a bit of a dance of death here. Serral, behind all of this, by the way, look at the work account, 36 to 24. Don't make any mistake about it. This was all incredible for Serral. Splitting off a few Lings here, trying to detonate those Banelings as well, trying to keep these Banelings alive, but no. Lambo is now the one marching out across the map. He is droning behind this, though, so I think Lambo did realize that he can't be super duper all in with this. He has to get some economic edge back somehow.
Yeah, he's taken so much damage. I mean, that was just woefully underprepared, the defense for Lambo there. He's now way behind. He wants to try to put on some counter pressure, equalize a little while catching up in the drones. But so far, Serral's micro is good. He sinks a few Lings across the map, takes out a drone, and is going to take out the Queen on the third base.
And look at this, splitting off Lings as well to try and bait the Banelings into blowing up. There aren't that many drones on this base, but there's enough. This will be tasty kills.
The Banelings and Lings coming forward for Lambo. Great focus fire from Serral. Only 1 Baneling able to make it past that gauntlet of Queens.
That was great micro by Serral. These drones, they do have to be worried, though. I know there's only 1 Baneling. He snipes it down with his Queens. Great control. And getting away against the Banelings as well. Loses quite a lot of Zerglings. And amidst all this chaos, Serral is up to 45 drones here.
You know, they don't call him the Night King for no reason. He doesn't show a lot of emotion up there mid-series, but that's because he is laser-focused on victory, and that's exactly what appears to be coming his way. He has worked himself into a beautiful advantage, methodically adding on all of the tech he needs, an evolution chamber, another gas, more drones. Lings continuing to scout and see everything his opponent's up to, while counter-pressuring with his own Zergling Baneling. Individual Zerglings tracking onto those Banelings, getting the snipes off. The control is out of this world. Serral cannot be stopped.
This is so hard to do with your Lings, splitting off at the last second there, trying to use your Zerglings like little missiles here to make the Banelings blow up. Serral did it so well, and Lambo, he's marching out across the map again. He realizes he's behind at this point, and he's the one that has to make moves, but
he's got two Banelings in Serral's main base. Two Banelings, he actually managed to sneak in the corner.
That's good damage, it's good damage, but he's still behind. He still needs to make a lot more moves happen, but that is a good way to try and get back into it. Oh, these Banelings.
Oh, dancing with death there, as you said, Ben. It is a real dangerous engagement going on. But it looks like Serral there able to just maintain pressure on his opponent. He's going to look for a juicy 2-for-4 trade. Very nicely done. And he's still got the Banelings over here. He's got the Ling advantage. Lambo desperately trying to catch up in that worker count. I mean, the fact that Lambo is alive at all after having literally nothing to respond to the early Ling Bane pressure is a testament to the German Zerg skill. But I think he just gambled a bit too hard in the early game. He's found himself behind here. He's got drones up against Ling Bane in his mineral line, and that is not a situation you want to be in.
And he's getting to the juicy innards of Serral here, doing a lot of economic damage. These drones fighting for their lives. Nice drone drilling on that one patch. This Baneling, but getting into the main base as well with the Zerglings. And right now, his economy is spiraling out of control as well. 8 drones in production, marching roaches across the map, even taking a 4th base is Serral. He's doing everything right now, and everything perfectly, might I add.
Yeah, Serral never seems to get too excited in these scenarios. He has a bit of a lead going for himself, but he always continues to just tick off that list. He's one of the most methodical players. He wants to get to the point of the game that he wants to get to, and in this case, it's Overlord speed for Vision. It's a second Evo chain, but he just ladder up those upgrades and just kind of climb up until he's got not only an overwhelming roach count, but overwhelming upgrades. 67 workers to 50. At this point, Lambo is just, you know, working off dreams. He doesn't have a lot to go on.
Oh, and GG. Lambo knows it is over. You can't come back from such a deficit against such a mighty player. And I mean, Lambo, he took a nice win on that map too with a cheeky build, but Serral, he just showcased why he is absolutely one of the best in that final game. Nobody beats him in the Ling Bane micro stage of the game. He's just so good at it.
You know, Serral mixing it up, taking the fight to his opponent and really skill checking him multiple times in that series and making sure his opponent could not get away with cutting too many corners. Let's hear from the man himself as he progresses through to the quarterfinals.
Thank you very much, guys. Congratulations, Serral. You're moving forward to the quarterfinals, and in fact, this is your 13th straight round of 8 over the past 2 years. I was wondering, were you aware of that?
No, I'm not counting that kind of stuff, but sounds cool at least, I guess.
Definitely a cool statistic, and it just goes to show what a phenomenal streak you've been having. And speaking in this series itself, I noticed that you really preferred that Nidus were in play, and especially considering in ZvZ, it's not as common as it used to be in the past. Is there a particular reason why you decided to do that?
Well, I mean, it's just mainly because people they like to punish me for liking to go to the normal roach games, so I just pretty much want to punish all kind of muta play and all kind of a bit of a risky play. Lambo didn't necessarily do that this time, but I think it's just overall solid build, and it's pretty much a free win against all kind of muta play, which is the main thing I'm struggling with.
Well, still, you're moving forward now, and it's going to be either Hearthstone or Time you're going to be playing against. I'm not going to ask you who you prefer to play, as I don't think gods fear much, but if you had to predict who you're going to be going up against, who would you say?
I'm kind of thinking Hearthstone, honestly, but at the same time, I'm a bit worried about CVP in some ways, so I'd rather probably pick his Time. And I think it's a very 50-50 matchup. I don't really know Time's level too well since he doesn't play in the European server. I don't really see his games too much, so I can't say, but I think Hearthstone's gonna win that one.
And last question, I saw yesterday you and Hearthstone had a very long conversation about where you guys consider ZVP. You know, Hearthstone was talking about his perspective and you were talking about yours. And so what did you sort of learn from that conversation with him?
I mean, you don't really learn anything from those conversations, but I mean, I think we were kind of arguing against Austral races, so it wasn't the best arguments, but I think CVP is a bit tricky right now, for sure, but I'm quite not sure yet how big of a balance problem is. I just think the design is a bit off.
Well, for now, at least, you are moving forward to the round of 8. So congratulations once again with that. Serral is moving forward to the quarterfinals.